Chris Harrison coming to you from the home office in Austin, Texas today. I am so excited for this particular episode of the most dramatic podcast ever. Two very good friends are coming on the show, Ashley Iaconetti and Jared Haben. Obviously, they are married, but we got to know them, first of all, separately, because Ash was on Chris Soules' season of The Bachelor, and then Jared was on the next season of The Bachelorette with Caitlin and Britt. It turned out to be Caitlin Bristow's season. And then they went on a couple seasons of Paradise, where we fell in love with these two as they attempted to fall in love, although it seemed like love was going to elude them, especially Ashley I, who was more known for tears, more known for being in love with Jared, but Jared was never going to reciprocate that. It just seemed like this romantic comedy that was never going to have that happy ending. And yet it did, and it has. They are married. They have a beautiful baby boy, Dawson. They are expecting their second child in July, which is unbelievably exciting. They're now living their lives, hosting podcasts and running the coffee shop and lounge. Audrey's up there in Rhode Island. So a lot to catch up to today with Ashley I and Jared. Ashley and Jared, good to see you guys. And Ashley, you look beautiful. You're glowing. So let's just get that out of the way. But Jared, I caught a glimpse and you've lost some weight. You're looking svelte. You're looking fit. Are you just trying to piss your wife off?
Obviously, it's annoying that I lose weight when she gains it during pregnancy, even though it's not your fault. You're growing another human being. If I put weight on, it's nobody's fault but my own. You can blame number two on this one.
There's the sympathy weight. Usually that's what dads do, is they go sympathy weight. It's like an excuse.
You did that the first time
to eat. So when she was pregnant with Dawson, you gained weight.
Yes. Remember how Nick even said, like, hey,
dude, yeah, of course I won't freaking Nick. So we go to see him in LA, and this was right after Dawson was born, or whatever. She was pregnant. And then Nick, like literally the third thing he says to me, he's like, put a little weight on, huh? I was like, dude,
wow.
Yeah, good to see you too. Go straight to hell. And then he's like smiling, and he's like, no, you look good, in his Nick way. I'm like, bro, get out of my face. Why am I here?
Tanner's like, welcome to the dad bod life.
I know. Yeah. So honestly, it was comments like that. I was like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out.
How much Ozempic are you taking? What's going on?
No Ozempic. So I downloaded like 4 months ago.
Yeah.
I was, going to the gym, and it's just like tired of just doing the same old thing. Right. I was like, I need to do something. So then I signed up for a half marathon because I was like, all right, I'm going to train for something. I want to train for something.
Okay.
And then I decided I didn't like running. And so then I downloaded this app called Fitbod, and I freaking love this thing because it just gives me different routines. And it brings out the competitive side because it gives you goals to hit. And if you don't hit those goals, it alerts you.
It sounds like an ad, but it's not.
That's why Lauren loves Orange Theory, because it's competitive. She says she's not competitive, but she is. It's a total lie. Don't ever let Lauren Zima get away with saying she's not competitive. By the way, you guys, you both look great, and congratulations. Baby number 2 is imminent. Where are we in the grand scale of things? What's our due date?
So he's cooking at 375 right now. Okay. They said about 35 minutes. So we're about 27 minutes in now, I guess.
I think it's like exactly 2 months away right now. Like if you were to look at the date.
Yeah.
It's like I would.
So we're going to have a early or a July baby. Is that right?
It's a late
July.
Mid-July baby.
Maybe like around July 26th.
Yeah.
Is that somebody's birthday?
That's my birthday. And then
everybody wants me to have a baby on their birthday.
I know.
But also, Trista had her first baby on my birthday.
Well, that is too serendipitous.
How wild is that? The first Bachelor baby was born on my birthday. It was really wild. So baby Brady, we're calling it.
That's already Dawson's middle name.
But we could do baby Brady.
Dawson Brady. We know it's a boy.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dawson came from Titanic.
Yeah. Thank you for not thinking it's from Dawson's Creek.
No. Which, by the way, nothing wrong with James Van Der Beek, also living in Austin right now. Great guy.
Oh, he seems super cool. I love following him on
Has
Instagram.
47 kids.
Yeah.
I went to a soccer game recently, and he was there, and we were in the same suite. And he and his wife, his kids, by the way, are lovely. But it's like a circus. But he's in town. I just saw him. His daughter actually sang at this event we were at. Okay, not from Dawson's Creek. It was from, obviously, Titanic, one of the greatest movies that Ashley thinks she ever saw. And baby number 2 is also going to be a boy. Do we have a name already?
Yeah.
We think we do.
Okay.
Yeah, we think so.
But we're not saying it.
Yeah,
Is
we won't
it
say it
okay?
yet.
Yeah, but is it derived from sports, or is it derived from a movie, or is it derived from a boy band? Just give us that much.
Nothing for the
Neither,
first
which is
name,
so
but the
depressing.
middle name will have an ode to pop culture.
Of course it will.
Oh yeah. So it's a family name. It's
Okay.
First name.
Gotcha.
the first name's a family name. Ashley loves this name. It took a while for me to come around, but
Kind
but
of
I
giving
did.
it away. But
Yeah,
It's no, but it's bizarre. The naming thing was interesting when I went through it twice. The pressure of that. Yeah, that's like you think, okay, what are kids going to yell on the playground? What are they going to yell on the ball field? What are they going to yell in the theater? You know, like what are the different iterations of this name that'll turn into what? You know, it's funny, the pressure. Did y'all think about that?
Oh yeah. I thought about like what name would get my kids ass kicked.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to name it that.
Right.
You know, like what name was bullied when I was a kid, the poor thing. Because you don't think about that because I'm like, all right, I want to name my kid something cool and unique and different. And I'm like, but kids are cruel. Like
Yeah.
I also don't want him to be made fun of for the first 12 years of his life.
I think our generation is naming their kids weird things, so it's like not even a thing anymore to make fun of names.
Like we're not going to get on The Bachelor in like 30 years and it won't be like, you know, the Laurens we went through.
Exactly.
You know, the 9 different Laurens, Lauren M, Lauren F, Lauren Z. So that will be the interesting thing to see, like what the names are 20 years from now and all the reality shows when the Chiron pops up. Dawson's 2? He just turned 2, right?
He turned 2 in January.
Okay. Wow. So he's walking, talking. I've seen and heard his singing and dancing routine. The guy is killing it.
Yeah, we don't know. Well, I think he has rhythm from Jared. Jared's really good at choreography. Jared's club dancing skills will make me cringe, as every girl will cringe at her husband club dancing.
I don't think I have good choreography, but Ashley's is so bad that any rhythm that this kid has, he definitely got from me because he absolutely did not get it from
A
his mom.
possible
He
boy
likes
band
to
future.
perform.
One can only hope, honestly. Like, dude, I just want, obviously, I want him to love sports. I won't force him to do it. But that was a way that my dad and I bonded.
Yeah.
And you'll appreciate this. So I was going through like an existential crisis the other night and just like thinking about fatherhood.
The
and
other night, or just like every
generally
night?
in my life.
He's
but,
going through a
really,
midlife crisis right now.
Dude, I YouTubed the end of Field of Dreams while I was giving Dawson a bath and was watching it.
Dad, you want to have a catch?
You want to have a catch? And it was just like, so I start crying by myself, thinking about this moment with Dawson many years from now. And then, of course, thinking about this moment with my dad and just like having this moment to myself in the bath while Dawson's in the bath and I'm in the bath room giving him a bath. And then it was funny because on the YouTube algorithm, it obviously gives you suggested next video. And the next video was an interview with Kevin Costner when he was on Conan O'Brien. And it said, Kevin Costner asked why grown men cry at the end of Field of Dreams while I'm crying at the end of Field of Dreams.
It that gets me every time. And flash forward, by the way, oh God, what would that be? 18 years from now, I guess 20 years from now, when Joshua is 22 years old now and just graduated from TCU, just graduated college. And obviously you guys met Joshua back in 2015. So that was 10 years ago. You guys met Josh, my son, oldest, when he was 12 years old. So he just graduated. Him finishing his last game, walking off the field and going up to give him a hug. That was my Field of Dreams moment. I cried like a baby. It crushed me. Those last going to tournaments in high school, the last college game, Lauren and I are moving him into his apartment. I'm telling you, it will fly by.
It flew by for us, for you. I remember when you moved him into his first year of college.
Yeah.
It feels like yesterday.
Right.
Dude, I remember we were in Ireland
With Caitlin?
I forget. Yeah, it might have been Clarny or something like that, but he was there and then you're kicking the soccer ball with him. And then us guys were there too. And but I remember all of us were like, well, no, like we're not disturbing Chris with his son right now. Like we were all very scared to like, be like, no. He needs to like he's with his son right now. Nobody go near him. Nobody go near him.
That's funny. I relish those moments as I think back now, and I'm glad they traveled with me so much. And they met so many of you guys during your time on the show, which is wild. Andrew Firestone and I, because we were very similar in age, we have these pictures, and same thing with Bob Guinea, some of our older bachelors, that they met him when they were born or just born. And it's crazy to me to think how that, because I had two sets of lives going, bachelor life, and then my family and my kids growing up. And those intersected a lot, and they're kind of crossing over with all of you guys as well. It was pretty wild.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, it must to you almost feel like you were living two lives.
When people say, what's your favorite season? What's your favorite thing? And I'm like, it's going to be boring. You're not going to like it. It's when my daughter was swinging on the Eiffel Tower when we were in France. And it's when my son kept asking for chocolate tacos, which were crepes, when we were looking at the Eiffel Tower, and, eating gelato on the steps in Italy. And, those are the moments I remember. That's cool. Obviously, if you want to talk about the show, it's Ashley crying, but if it's, and then they would say, which time?
Too many times. Everybody asked me that. Like, the amount of times I get asked, does Ashley cry that much? I'm like,
recently, yeah.
Who do you think cries more now? Obviously you have a lot of hormones kicking, so you're emotional, but I could see Jared almost crying more now. Have the roles reversed with this midlife crisis you're going through?
No, I just internalized everything.
Cried a few times through the midlife crisis.
Yeah, definitely cried a few times. Oh, dude, she cries. I
literally can't have a serious conversation without crying, which really sucks.
What were we watching the other day? Was it The Land Before Time? We were showing Dawson.
No, it was Homeward Bound, and I wasn't actually about to cry during that. I really wasn't.
There was a different movie then you started crying at.
No.
I can't remember, but we're showing Dawson.
Oh, we're watching that Full House episode where Uncle Jesse is.
Yeah, we're showing Dawson Full House, and there's an episode where there's a grandfather that dies in the episode, and Ashley, I look over as Dawson's watching,
actually crying,
and please, you always say that.
Felt it.
No, she always says that, like, oh, I'm not crying, even though there is water in her eyes. And I'm like, that is crying.
Speaking of crying, Ashley and I were texting the other day, and I said, did Jared watch the Tom Brady roast on Netflix? It was the funniest thing that I have ever seen. It was genius. And I'm not the biggest Tom Brady fan. I know you are. But I said, Tom Brady isn't the hero we asked for, but he's the hero we needed right now. To step up and to allow himself to be roasted, it's something that the whole world just needed to rally around, of like, okay, we can laugh again. And so I was texting with Ash, and I said, hey, what did Jared think? Knowing full well you watched it and were obsessed with this. I couldn't believe her answer when she said Jared has not and maybe will not watch the roast of Tom Brady.
It's not that I will not. It's the fact that it's 3 hours long. So I watched. I also have never enjoyed roasts because I just I get it, right? It's like bit after bit after bit.
Yeah.
New comedian, bit after bit after bit, new comedian. And so I watched clips of it. And then so many of my friends are like, can you believe Belichick said this or Belichick said that? And it's just like I saw the clips of Belichick, and it's very clear that a comedian wrote those jokes and he's saying them. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll give him props for saying it, but it's like.
Well, of course, Belichick didn't write a comedy bit, but the point is,
what I mean.
But to hear Drew Bledsoe and Gronk and those guys just do it and Brady to sit there and take it was brilliant. And the fact that they got Robert Kraft and Belichick and Brady on the same stage and they did a shot together. I told Lauren, I go, you don't understand how crazy this is. And what a big sports moment this is. It was wild to see. And I will say, if you don't want to watch the whole thing, fast forward, watch Jeff Ross because he kicked the whole thing off, but go to Nikki Glaser.
I saw the Nikki Glaser.
I will say the Gronk joke where it was like, I know that fake money.
Right. Even I know that. And then Kill Tony crushed it towards the end. Those are the two. But it was, I was like, Jared's got to be dying, loving this, because it was maybe the best performance Tom Brady ever gave. It's the performance we needed from him. This world needed to be brought together to laugh at ourselves. So you should relish in the fact that your hero rose once again to save the world.
Oh, trust me, I relish in every second where people. I can't believe it became the pop culture phenomenon that it is. Like I was like, oh, he's doing a roast. All right, people will like it, and then it just became the topic of every podcast, every talk show. Like everywhere I looked, they'd be talking about the Tom Brady roast. And I'm like, I cannot believe how big this thing was.
Well, it was the first time we could all honestly. The first time comedians really let loose in a public forum without locking up our phones and, because it was live on Netflix, they let it loose. And it was the first time we all just laughed in unison because there was someone so big. It took Tom Brady. It took someone so untouchable, unapproachable, so big that he was above reproach. That's what you needed. You needed that Mount Rushmore of a human to go, bring it on. I'll be the guy. If it was anybody else, it would have fallen on deaf ears.
And it's good that it's Brady that, he was just so successful and good looking and he's got it all. And it's like, there's people that they're like, we don't mind tearing that guy down because we know he's fine.
Well, it's like when I host an event, it's easy. It's like I just did an event the other day and Tim Tebow was in the audience and I'm like, yeah, you just pick the biggest, most famous, safe guy. You make fun of him because we can all laugh at that because there's nothing to laugh at with Tebow. The guy's perfect and he's this wonderful human being. And so you make fun of it. And that's everyone can rally around that. It's like, you don't want to pick on the smallest guy. You pick on the biggest guy.
100%. And, but yeah, what I didn't like was after that, I'm sure you saw the headlines where Brady, because obviously I love Brady, but it's like when he said that he regretted doing it, like, don't say that.
Well, that was, my guess is it was just one off comment. I never even saw where the comment came from. He said, yeah, my kids didn't love it. I mean, look, Giselle.
I was gonna say, I blame Giselle.
All Giselle.
It's all Giselle.
Giselle got Tom angry text afterward
and was like, "What are you doing?"
There's no pun intended when I say Giselle really took it on the chin there, but she really did. And her jujitsu teacher, I mean, it was the jokes did write themselves. They were pretty good. But I was shocked to hear, and I think it'll be cathartic for you, man. Just sit down and watch the show. You wake up with a sore throat and load a first aid kit. It's promo code Chris at urgentcarekit.com/Chris.
High Five Casino. High Five Casino is a social casino with real prizes and big Vegas hits.
Styles, like the made-to-be type of coverage.
I was looking back over the both of you and going over because
only. Shop now at your closest Victoria's Secret store or online at victoriasecret.com.
I was looking back over the both of you and going over because it's funny how when I become friends with somebody, and I've been friends with you guys for 10 years now, as I think Ash, you started 2015, right?
September is when I met you.
Our 10-year anniversary is coming up.
Yeah.
Is that diamond anniversary? What do I get you? Diamonds? Is that right?
Wow. Yes. That's the ring upgrade.
But so I've known you guys for the better part of 10 years, which is wild to me. And so I kind of forget sometimes where y'all came from. I mean, I know you're on the show, but I'm like, I kind of lose the specifics. I went back and I'm like, okay, so Ash was on Chris Soule's season. And now I started looking about who else came off that season. And a lot of stars came off that season. Whitney won it, so to speak. They didn't stay together, but there was Becca, who was runner-up, who was a huge star. Wasn't Jade on that season?
Yep, Jade was fourth, and then Caitlyn was third.
Yeah, and Britt. By the way, I forgot Britt was even on that season. That's where Caitlyn and Britt came from, which is wild to me as well.
Yeah.
And I never put the two and two together of you and Jade were on the season together, and then Jared and Tanner were on Caitlyn and Britt's season together, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, I'm thinking about my season. You definitely got probably the most engagements from the girls on my season collectively, because I'm thinking about Caitlyn twice.
Yeah, it's true.
Within Bachelor Nation, we had Caitlyn's engagement, Jade's engagement, Carly's.
Oh, engagement. I thought you were talking about Instagram. I'm like, where are you going with this?
Yeah. Carly out of Paradise as well. I forgot about, Carly Waddell was on that season.
Then there was Chris, and then Chris and Whitney.
Oh, Chris.
So, yeah.
And then you
Who else
and
am I forgetting?
Jaden Tanner are really the only success stories to make it out.
Well, 10 years. So
10 years. And
Tanner. Dude, Tanner made it on Caitlin's season. He was like 8th or 9th or something like that. And it was so funny because he was very self-aware. And he's like, honestly, I'm just not screwing up. I'm just coasting. Like, I want to see how far I can get without, like, I don't really have a good connection with Caitlin. And then we were just joking about how he was going to be, it was going to be like him and Sean in the final 2. And Tanner shows up all disheveled, hasn't showered, shaved, or anything like that, being like, Caitlin, please send me home. And then she gives him her final rose. He's like, you got to be kidding me.
You guys, so in your season started with the debacle of the 2 bachelorettes that we were voting on.
I know.
And then we swore we would never do that again. And they did.
And then fast forward.
Yeah, and fast forward.
it was a lot different the second time.
Not any better, but it's just different. And then, so did you remember, did you vote for Caitlin or Britt?
Dude, I voted for Britt, and Caitlin still to this day will never let me live it down, which I can't blame her.
I mean, the fix was in. We were never going to let Britt win. The producers had the fix in.
No.
Yeah,
100%.
The scales of justice were not even in that vote. And Caitlin became the best. I didn't. So you voted for Britt. That's funny.
Yeah, but I also, it was terrible because I had these 2 incredibly good looking women who were funny, personable, way out of my league. And I'm like, oh, I have to choose which one I want to date. This is the stupidest night of my life.
Yeah, but Britt was so your original type.
Yeah, I agree.
And then Caitlin was the type that you you started to like.
Yeah,
once you got out of
started.
like your show.
Yeah, I agree.
Once you went to your boy band phase. But that season was good because we traveled. Like you said, we ended up in Ireland. We had different travel planned, but things were so good in Ireland, we decided to stay because we were going to leave. I think we were going somewhere in Asia, maybe. I forget, but we were yeah.
Is that your theory? Is that how it happened in your memory, Chris? Because Jared has a different memory.
Oh, what's the memory?
I got screwed out of a hometown. That's my memory because I was 4th and we were supposed to go from what I'm understanding, we're supposed to go from Ireland to back to hometowns and then go, I don't know the location, but like somewhere for Fantasy Suites.
Yes.
And then Fantasy Suites, something happened.
The Nick sex happened.
No, that's the story they gave us.
No, that's true though. That's true.
Yeah, that's
Wait, you're telling
said.
me that I got screwed out of a hometown because Nick and Caitlin had sex?
Essentially, yes. That's
Dude, Nick just consistently ruins my life.
I was talking about this to us like 2 months ago.
Oh, I thought it was actually I don't
like,
remember. I've heard so many
she's like,
different stories.
since the sex, we had to like kind of change up the storyline.
Yeah, who told you that?
Caitlin.
Yeah, no, it's true. Well, I mean, Caitlin didn't have anything to do with it. I guess she kind of did.
Yeah, but she's aware of what happened.
It was.
I hope she's aware of what
everything
happened.
was going according to plan, and then obviously Nick and Caitlin had the infamous sex in the hotel there in Ireland, and then we didn't want it because when we leave, you stop filming, right? Because we have dark days with the crew, and we had to shut down for a day. Then we all travel, and so we were just going to let the steam out of the balloon there, and it was just going to lose the storyline and lose the momentum of what was going on. Because really, what it came down to was obviously Sean and Nick and the craziness that was going on, and we just didn't want to lose that, so we kept it going. And so we kind of just blew up the rest of it. Then we ended up going. That's why we went from like Dublin, Tralee, but then we just went up north to Lough Erne up in Northern Ireland to that resort, which is a good golf course as well, by the way, which is really what I cared about.
Obviously, the most important part.
But that's what happened. Your season was blown up because of that.
Such BS. So
I can't imagine. I would actually love to see Caitlin meet your family.
Oh, Fred and
go
Nance.
to Warwick, Rhode Island. That'd be hilarious.
That would be. She'd fit in.
But I'm just glad you didn't go to Fantasy Suites.
And then Ash came on Winter Games, which was an absolute blast. I had the best. So it was funny because Bachelor Winter Games it was an experiment we tried because the Winter Olympics were going on, and they weren't on ABC, and ABC's like, we got to counter program something against the Olympics because no one's going to watch ABC and no one cares. So we just create something. So we were like, oh, we'll go to Vermont and we'll shoot Bachelor Winter Games, our own Winter Olympics. And we were so burnt out. I forget whose season we came off, but we had just come off a bender of a season. Most of us didn't even go home. I went home, changed suitcases, then went to Vermont for like 3 weeks and lived in this snowy house. And so we were all a little fried, but it turned out to be really fun. Did you remember it as fun, Ash, or was it just a disaster for you?
It wasn't a disaster. It was fun. Yeah, it was definitely like the easiest of all the shows.
The pressure was
emotional.
off.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, Yuki was there for crying out loud.
Jared feels awkward. I love that he
I don't
still
feel
feels
awkward. I don't feel awkward. I'm fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it was definitely easy breezy.
And then we went to Winter Games, or then we went to Paradise twice, right?
Well, yeah, so we went to Paradise twice before Winter Games.
It was
Winter
before
Games was
Winter
the cap.
Okay, so we went, Winter Games was like 15, 16, and then
it was Winter Games was
Paradise
17.
Was 15, 16, and then
yeah,
Winter Games for
Winter
17.
Games we got together.
like the end of 16, 17. Yeah, it was the end.
Yeah, you and I got together in the winter of 18.
And then I went to Bachelor in Paradise, Australia.
Yeah.
Which was stupid. I made it through.
Okay, you also was easy breezy.
I don't remember you doing that. You went to Bachelor in Paradise, Australia?
Because I was on the phone with, we won't say producers' names, but I was on the phone with a producer who was inquiring about Winter Games. And then they were like, hey, listen, you're not going to be on Winter Games.
We have to choose Ashley over you.
Obviously, it was probably like they were like, we don't want Ashley and Jared to be on the same season again.
Yeah,
and then
America can't take this.
Yeah, it's just like, guys, we're bored. Then they were like, would you want to do Bachelor in Paradise Australia? They're doing Americans. And Grant was down there and Daniel McGuire, the Canadian.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then I made it through 5 rose ceremonies. Didn't kiss anybody while I was there.
Didn't kiss anyone. It was
anybody.
awesome.
5 rose ceremonies.
Came home.
It was almost
reported
like
that back to me, and I was like, cool. Well, I'm leaving in 2 days for my show. I'll probably kiss someone. And it all worked out well.
For you, it did.
So funny, man. Anyway, different life.
Is it? I mean, it really is. When you guys think about it, now you're about to be a parent of 2. And when you think of all the hijinks and shenanigans and the craziness that went on, it's got to kind of blow you away. And in a good way, though.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's so crazy when people come up to us still and they're like, I'm so glad it happened for you. And I'm like, we have been together twice as long now as we were ever not together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the show kind of people got to know you guys so well, or at least they feel like they did, obviously going through these journeys with you. I'm sure that you still get, if there's a couple, like even like you run into Sean and Catherine or Ryan and Trista, easy to root for, easy to like, but I don't know if anybody went on a journey like we went on with the 2 of you, like together. Are they not? Are they together? We want them together. So it really was this rom-com between the 2 of you, unlike any of our other seasons and couples.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My dream come true, a rom-com.
Like Jade and Tanner are boring as like, come on.
Obviously, yeah.
They went off and had their own show and they came back. It was like the couple that showed up day 1 of school and then you didn't see them again. They showed up at graduation. We're like, have y'all been here the whole time?
Yeah. With 3 kids at graduation.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Nicely done.
That happened quick.
Yeah, no kidding. Flying through that.
Y'all are living in Rhode Island right now.
Yeah. Ashley hates it.
I do.
Well,
it's our biggest argument.
We
don't know how to settle it, to be honest.
We'll figure it out.
We don't know.
Yeah, she wants to be home closer to fam, which makes sense. I love Rhode Island, so just kind of figuring it out right now.
Like, well, you're having babies in Virginia. Is that like a home turf thing?
I know. Well, so my dad's a doctor. My dad's an anesthesiologist.
Yeah.
So I like to be at the hospital in which my dad is an anesthesiologist.
Yeah, which makes sense.
No, I like home field. I like home field advantage.
Home field advantage is the exact way of putting it. Like you could not have have a better experience.
Yeah, like she goes to the hospital. Everybody knows who she is.
Yeah.
Not only because of
like
Bachelor.
Kind of feel like a little princess there.
Yeah, because of her dad, and she's very much taken care of. And Fairfax is such an incredible hospital. Yeah. It's just a no-brainer.
Also, not sponsoring the show.
No, if they want to.
Okay, so of all the things you guys fight about, you do fight about where you're going to live. That's a big thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
We don't fight about it. Like it's not we don't fight about it, but it's like a constant
always there.
But where will if you talk about the future and you're like, oh, is that where we'll be in the future? Will he be playing softball on this field?
Yeah, when I drive, yeah, she's like, oh, that's funny. You think Dawson's gonna play baseball there? Because he'll be playing baseball about at least 1,000 miles away.
It's not 1,000.
You wake up with a sore throat and low grade. It's like having promo code Chris at
The Social Casino. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Play responsibly. Conditions apply. See website for details.
High Five Casino.
When the sun goes down, opt for bold and tops and bottoms that offer you every type of coverage, from full to cheeky to minimal. Now,
something that couples like, Lauren and I went through it. And
low peony. Shop now at your closest Victoria's Secret store or online at victoriassecret.com.
here's the thing. I find it interesting because that's something that couples like, Lauren and I went through it. And when we started dating and I said, hey, this train is going to end up in Texas. So don't get on this train at all if you don't want to go on this trip with me, because I knew I was going to boomerang back. I was already, even towards the end of The Bachelor, I was already looking at homes here in Austin. I knew I wanted to move back here, between here and Dallas. And when Lauren and I really fell in love and decided to do life together, I was like, look, I'm taking off to Austin. Let's do this. And we chose Austin because neither one of us had ever lived here. We could build a life together and do it together and do something kind of different. Like, I grew up in Dallas. She was in Chicago. Let's do something where we are kind of on neutral ground and we can kind of build it together. Have y'all, where would that be for you guys? Where's the dream for you?
Maybe Cranston.
Sure is. I think, like, just for me, I would just want to be back in Virginia, which is like something I never expected myself wanting until we had a kid. I always was the girl that was like, I'm happy to move back to Rhode Island. I don't care. I'm anywhere. I'm gonna be happy. Yeah. I love the ocean. I love Newport. I do love the ocean. Yeah, I do love Newport, but it's like, that's not going to suffice when it's just so nice to like sit around just with Dawson in like a playroom with my mom and my sister. And
yeah, it's definitely like I think the biggest, I don't want to say issue, but it's just like there. It's always there because I can see it, that she's very clearly much happier anytime she's in Virginia. And not that you're sad here, but you're always with your mom. You're always with your sister.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be. Which totally makes sense. You love, because then when you're there with Dawson, it's like Dawson is not just hanging out with you.
It's like a family thing.
He's hanging out with 3 or 4 people at once. And then I'm like you, Chris, when we first got together, this train was going to Rhode Island. Yeah. And then she was totally fine with that. And there was no issues. But obviously, things have changed a little bit.
Kids change that.
Dawson. Kids change that, so... I mean, we'll figure it out. I'm not concerned about it. It's not like I'm
not like every day I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm here. I'm so sad. It's just like, it's kind of more of like and
it's not LA or thing. A place across the country, I mean, it's literally an hour flight.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it sounds like y'all are about to have 2 places.
I say that I would like to have, I said in a dream world, we'd have like the beach house here. So we would,
I mean, it's a perfect place for it
to be. Yeah, exactly. And you can like Airbnb it, or college students live in the beach town. So
it's the escape hatch.
Just really need to figure out a way to get more free flights. That's what's the thing. So I can just bounce back and forth.
I am such a huge Southwest fan. Here's another shout out of something I'm not paid for, but their companion pass is is just brilliant.
So you guys will determine this later, but this is crazy. But Jared, I didn't know you owned a lounge and coffee shop.
Wait, what? You didn't know
I swear to God, I didn't know. I don't know why I didn't know.
Well, you're not supposed to know. It's like, it's not.
That's not true. I think I should know. That's information I should know. I felt really bad.
We should definitely have shared that.
Yeah. It's probably because Ben Higgins is too busy talking about his crappy coffee all the time.
I know.
We serve his crappy
coffee. So it's very good coffee.
No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to Ben Higgins and his coffee company.
Yeah, it was funny. When I first opened, Ben reached out and was like, would you want to carry Generous? And I was going to reach out anyway, thinking, it's a perfect fit. So yeah, we opened Audrey's Coffee House and Lounge. It's in South Kingston, Rhode Island in December of 2021. Audrey is her mom. So, I wanted to name it a family name, something meaningful to us because it was a family business. I love the name Audrey. It reminds me of Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah.
And so I just always felt like, oh, let's get a coffee at Audrey's. Let's get a drink at Audrey's. It felt right. And so it actually used to be a different coffee shop that I went to when I was in college. And so I was very familiar with the area and just working in restaurants all my life. I always wanted to own and operate my own place and felt like I could. It's obviously so stressful. The margins are so small, but
Yeah.
I do love owning the place. Like as much as I bitch about it and complain and it tires me out and it takes up so much of my time and effort, there is this feeling of pride that I get from being there and being in the midst of the chaos with, other employees that work there, and they're an attachment of my family now. And it's nice. There's something to be said about the camaraderie that a brick and mortar business brings, especially a small one.
It's something that's lost today, isn't it? I mean, there's so many businesses and things that just are generated and you're not really getting your hands dirty, so to speak. And I think this generation, I feel bad that they will miss out on that brick and mortar experience of what it's like to go to a building and to have to keep it clean and to work on it and to stock it and to grind there. And it becomes this place that means a lot to you.
Oh, 100%. It means so much to me because Ashley and I, another, point of
these are the 2 points of contention that you have hit on.
Is how much time it takes me there.
But he likes it. Like he doesn't really want to change that.
It's a passion.
It is a passion. And because so many times I've told her I will change. And I've tried and I've definitely gotten so much better,
The first 6 months you couldn't get worse. He was there for we counted 100 hours 1 week.
Wow.
But it was when I didn't have a kid.
When we first opened and we did have a kid.
No.
Dawson was born in January, a month after we opened.
Well, yeah.
So
he was like a blob.
He was a blob. He's fine. It's like,
I just watch TV all day with him.
He's a throw rug at that point.
Yeah, he's fine. It's just it is another kid to me. Like I care about it so much and just like being there. There's not a better feeling than when someone comes in and sees me like washing dishes or whatever I need
literally
to do.
unclogging toilets.
Unclogging toilets, but most of the time that's very rare.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yes.
But obviously washing dishes, making drinks, making food, doing whatever I need to do. And it's always nice when someone who's a fan of the show comes in. They're like, I can't believe you actually work here.
If there's any fans listening, you're in Rhode Island, go to Audrey's.
Yeah. Stop by.
Thank you.
And order a nice piping hot cup of generous coffee. Compliments of Ben Higgins.
Yeah. That coffee's so expensive.
It goes to a good cause.
Yes.
It's a nonprofit, which is great.
Guys, I wanted to thank you for coming on, but before we go, there is something that seems to be happening every time I have someone from the show on. It may not be the case with you two, but I just had Brad Womack on, it happened, and I had Jason Tartick on, and it happened. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to make this a thing when I have bachelors and bachelorettes on. What is the one thing you wanted to ask me? What's that question? You're like, I want to know the truth about this. Is there anything?
That's a good question because we've become so much more comfortable with you over the past few years.
I was gonna say we were intimidated as
you would ask
when
me
we were on the show. I would
ago.
be so scared. I was so scared to talk to you.
Which is so funny because I really tried so hard to ingratiate myself to the cast and to get to know most everybody, not everybody, but like I tried.
Oh,
You were so nice and like so social around us and like open and welcoming, but I was still like, that is the celebrity in the room. Like I can't.
Oh yeah. I remember one night at Paradise, we were waiting for something like a roast or whatever, and we were just talking sports. And I remember you said something like you were busting my balls, and I was like, dude, Chris Harrison's busting my balls. Do I bust his balls back? Is he gonna get offended if I say something?
We're probably talking about the Patriots.
Oh, you were talking about the Cowboys, and I don't know. I was gonna make like
a Cowboys. It's easy to make fun of.
Quincy Carter joke or something.
Yeah. Now you can just make a Dak Prescott joke.
Yeah, I know. Man, something I've always wanted to ask you. So how about this? At rose ceremonies, right? You show up at like, I don't know, 2 a.m. sometimes. Like that's the first time, like we see you when you intro and then you come back at 2 a.m. What do you do in between? Do you sleep?
So back in the day, I would stay up, because I was young and, vibrant and could do that. It would be nothing. I'd get there like probably around 10:30 or 11 or whatever, have dinner, and I'd sit in the control room because I needed to listen to what was going on and see the storylines that were being pushed and to talk, with the producers and all that. So I'd come hang, and then, we would do Tink Tink and then, break for rose ceremony. Then it got to the point where, I had, so like Chris Soules season still, was probably still, I was sleeping in the closet, in the Bachelor Mansion, in the master bedroom and master bathroom, there's that walk-in closet. And that's where Carrie Fettman, my stylist and the stylist for the show, we would keep all the clothes. And so that's the one place in the house, there was no cameras, no lights, no nothing. We would go in there, and I would make a makeshift little bed, and we would just sit in there. And I would lay down and go to sleep in the closet.
If we walked into the closet and just saw Chris Harrison sleeping during a cocktail party,
it would make sense.
Amazing.
And then they got me finally, because it wasn't because they were nice, because Lord knows that's not the case, but they got me a trailer and down by production, and I would come in, make sure I knew what was going on, get dressed, and sometimes you stay awake through Tink Tink, but it just went so long I would go to sleep, and then Paulie would come wake me up. Big Paulie, who, if you guys don't remember who Paulie was, the big guy that usually would either kick people out, not you guys, but people listening would come get the suitcases, and that was Paulie. And so he would come wake me up, and they'd drag me back up for the rose ceremony at 4, 5, 6 in the morning. And, because I didn't have the union issues. So what would happen is, if your camera, audio, whatever, you would shoot all night, you could shoot your 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it was. We always went into overtime, but then that crew would go home at 6 or 7 in the morning. Me and Gina and Carrie, makeup, wardrobe, and myself, we would then turn around and have to do the date card. Like 2 hours, as y'all remember, we'd get to bed at 6:37 in the morning. And then at 9 o'clock in the morning, we had to do a date card to set up the dates for that day. And so I was the only one that had to turn around and do that, because all the rest of the crews would change over. And so I would go home for like an hour. Sometimes it was really depressing. I'd come home and the kids would be leaving for school, and I would like hug the kids. I would go lay down in bed for an hour, shower, shave, and go back up to the mansion. It was really wild.
And then could you sleep after that?
And then I would sleep that afternoon. Usually I wasn't on that date. I'd make sure I wasn't on that date that day. So I would sleep that day until I had to pick the kids up from school at like 2:30. But you're just a zombie.
Now I have a question.
Yeah.
What is Tink Tink?
Oh, that's where I would come in, and that's what we called the Tink Tink. So like the call, the Tink Tink. Oh. Sorry to break this up, but it's time for the rose ceremony.
I have one more question.
There's even a little glass. We would set it on the washer and dryer, and Paulie would fill it up, because, Paulie was the floor director, and that means he's in charge of everything going on the floor. So he would like have my little butter knife, and it would say, "Do not touch, Tink Tink." And it was
if they
formal name.
I know. I don't even know if you can answer this. If they ever asked you to be a part of the franchise again in any capacity, would you be open to it?
I would never say never. My mom taught me well enough to say never say never. I can't see a world in which I would want that, or in which I would think it would be healthy or good for me. We have the project going at Merritt Street Media now with Dr. Phil, which is going to be awesome. And that ship has sailed in my life. It was so wonderful, and I'm so grateful for it. It brought me so many blessings. 2 of them are right here in front of me, like the friends I never thought I was going to meet and have in my life. So I always look at it as a blessing, but I think things happen in your life for a reason, but also for a season. And that season of my life, I think, is past, and I'm excited for the next one. But it's not because of like any bitterness of like, screw those guys or whatever.
What's your relationship with Dr. Phil?
Really bizarrely close now. I
want to know like what you guys look like if you're having a beer at the bar.
Yeah, it's more of an iced tea thing. He's a big iced tea guy. When you go into his office after his show, he always has iced tea. He does have a sweet tooth. And one of our first meetings, we sat there and we almost emptied out a box of Girl Scout cookies. But he is such a thoughtful, smart human being. And he's one of those guys, I always say, you run into a Texan, he can, because he has that slow drawl. People like that can be easily underestimated in life because, he's a redneck, or I dare you to underestimate someone like that. He is unbelievably smart, brilliant, gets the business, which is really fun. It's been really fun to get to know him and become friends with him and Robin and the family. And he's really taken Lauren and I under his wing, and just a sweetheart of a guy.
Oh, that's so great. We're so happy for you guys. We're seriously so excited for all this to debut.
You guys will find your way on, I'm sure.
We would love that.
You and
when you said
Dawson and Little Brady.
Tom.
Tom.
Yeah, Tom.
That's kind of cute.
Tom.
What does that remind
Is that
us
Karate
of?
Kid? No, I mean not Karate. Three Ninjas?
No,
Tom
it
Tom?
reminds me of John.
John.
That would
Yeah.
make,
Oh, there we go.
that would make sense.
Somebody mentioned John Paul Jones to me today because his name was John Paul.
Yeah.
He was like, John Paul Jones is my favorite because my name is John Paul.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's cool, bro. That's a throwback.
Look, Christopher, Chris, maybe, Harrison. Those are good middle names. Those are strong.
Yeah.
Those are strong presidential names.
Yeah.
Harrison is a very presidential name.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I know you guys have to go, but I just wanted to say thank you for the support, the friendship. You guys have always been so wonderful. Lauren and I love you guys to death. And if we don't talk for some reason between now and 2 months from now, I wish you guys all the blessings in the world on a healthy, beautiful baby boy.
Thanks,
Aw,
buddy.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
You're
We
so
love
sweet.
you.
Our 10-year anniversary coming up, Ash.
10 year. Can't wait to see the diamond.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening. Follow us on Instagram at The Most Dramatic Pod Ever. And make sure to write us a review and leave us 5 stars. I'll talk to you next time.
High Five Casino. High Five Casino is a social casino with real prizes and big Vegas hits at highfivecasino.com.